other types of studies.
Mm.
I don't think it's related to an observational one because hmm, let me search again. Let's see if we can find.
Hello, Irene. Welcome.
Hey, good Monday.
Good Monday. How are you?
Oh, fine, fine, thank you. And
Good.
how are you?
I'm doing good.
Mm, that's good to hear.
How did your week started?
Oh,
My mind is kind of full at the beginning of the week, so let's see how it goes. It's like so many things to do. And how did yours started?
It started good. I am very excited about the research and where we're going and the things that we are getting now. So I got Monday. Now I'm 100% focused in the research. So I'm just working on that.
Good.
Usually Mondays are very busy. I get it.
Yeah.
So today, um, we're gonna review the questions and talk about the platform that we're gonna do the research. Um, I can share my screen. There we go. So we have these factors. We are working on the individual level in this research. We got it from this survey as a reference. So they work with 3 levels: the organizational, team, and individual. Our research focuses in just the individual level. So for that, we got 10 factors that we are curious about. So we want to have questions about stress, depression, time. It includes work hours and personal time, connection in your work, with your coworkers, people that you relate to, your routines, your boundaries, share identity, emotionally exhausting work, overwhelming, boring, monotonous, and how that affects you, and a work-family balance. So we are interested in see how that affects your mental health. And yeah, so we want to create 4 questions for each of these factors. So last week we went through these 23 ones, and now we were trying to see what factor they were related to, and we can see if it makes sense or not. Does it make sense?
Yes, the explanation is good. Thank you. Can I ask why did you decided not to ask about how the does people feel in the environment they're working in?
What do you mean?
Um, because like it's all about the individual, but I don't see a part where it states how does the individual feels in the environment or in the group they are collaborating in or working in.
I think there are some questions related to that, like this one. You are treated correctly at work.
Yeah, like I feel that I work in a safe space where people respect me. I
Yeah.
feel that I can share my personal problems with people in my work community. There are some questions about work and maybe they can go. So that's where we're trying to figure it out, like where they go to, if they go to emotionally exhausting work, if they are related to this part.
Yeah, look, this one too. Your work exposes you to situations that bother you emotionally.
So
Yeah.
What?
we need.
Sorry to interrupt.
Mhm.
No, I go ahead. I say something like
You can talk.
uh,
You
what
go.
I meant is that in the first part, where are the main topics or categories? In that part, like including besides work, the environment or the community, the groups, the social aspect as a main topic of
Like
the individual.
here?
No, in the next part, yeah, the factors,
Mhm.
and so those questions you're mentioning that they could go into the work factor,
Mhm.
but I was what I meant with my question is that why not add in the factors the environment and the social or the group or the work environment as a factor, as a category, as a factor.
Okay. Um because these factors we took these factors from articles. So maybe they are related, like the environment, like environment can be related to emotionally exhausting work or boundaries or routine or connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Because yeah, the um, the articles that we are working on, they're here too. Like they're here, some of them are here and here. So they all talk about work and remote work and improve mental health and work. So they're all work related. And yeah, they are kind of like it's hard to get just one word that um talk about like the other aspects.
Yeah, there are too many that in capture in work.
Yeah. So maybe like the environment, because like what could be the question for the environment work?
The ones that you mentioned, that if how do you feel
Mm.
at work? Uh, if I cannot read the small letters, but you mentioned it before, the
Mhm.
space where you people
Yeah, like this one. I
respect
feel like
you.
I have
Yeah.
good habits about disconnecting from work.
Mm, I was thinking about the other one that if you feel that you are in a safe space, or
Yeah.
how do you feel? Yeah, I was thinking about those ones.
I feel that I feel that I work in a safe space where people respect me.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that will go into connection because we got those things um in the
I think
articles.
I think at connection we should add connection and support or something like that.
Mm, yeah, that sounds better, connection and support. And instead of putting in work, put it in connection. Yeah, thank you.
What's your opinion, Bianca?
Um let's see. I think their article that talked about connection was the second. Because I was thinking about
In
like
this,
one word that would represent.
I mean, if you
Yeah, like
if you think this question, I feel that I work in a safe space where people respect me. That's obviously a connection thing, but this one, I think that I can ask for help if I need to anytime. This is more kind of like a support thing
I think that's
than
connection
a
too.
connection.
I
Okay.
think that's connection because connection talks about support too.
Okay.
Because like here in this article, remote workers cannot make social connections during conversations. A suggestion would be to implement some alternative ways to support building relationships with staff. Online messages
Mm-hmm.
and small virtual lunch meetings and coffee meetings. So the
Yeah, you're right.
connection talks about the support.
Yeah, you're right. But for to be more accurate for everyone, I wrote there includes support on
Yeah.
factors on connection.
I
Okay,
think when
fine.
we write the explanation of the factors, because we will have to do that,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
like what we did here, like what they did here in Talendale. You see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
they have the factor and then the description. So when we write a description of connection, we can talk about support is there, you know? It's about support too. But for
Okay.
the word of factor, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you
Okay, I understand.
yeah, I don't know if it makes sense for you.
It makes. Okay.
Or yeah.
Okay, let's continue that.
Oh, hello, Durgadas. How are you?
Good. I'm on day 3 of a little bit of eating. If you can imagine, just a single apple makes me full now.
Um,
So it's incredible, but that's kind of where I want it to be. So
that's great. Good for you. I'm happy you're eating again.
oh man, Saturday was so hard. I was dizzy, and here I am trying to make this weird tasteless soup that I need to eat to get out of the fast. And it took me 6 hours to make a soup with 6 ingredients in it. I was so tired.
Oh
So,
wow.
so I had no energy at all. So I'm just struggling. I had to sit down on a stool chopping. So anyway, but
Oh.
I'm kind of on the way up. But it's going to take me like 2 whole weeks to get to like 1,600 calories. So it's a slow
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
crawl out of it. So
process. Um, I think also, so Durga does what we are doing
yeah,
here.
I can see what you're doing. I'm glad you're chunking these in. Because that gives it some structure, and then when we're looking at it, we can. That's actually a specific thing that I recommended for some of our surveys before, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
So we are putting the factors to the questions.
mhm.
Um, yeah, so these are the factors that we discussed about based in the articles.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I need to open the door for my dog that he is crying.
I do have a question about the format of the survey when Bianca's back, I guess, but wanted to ask.
I'm back. He
Oh,
was crying and I couldn't talk because he
yeah.
was like interrupting me.
I,
But
I, I have a question about this. Are
mhm,
there any sort of NVC related questions in this at all? Like
no.
what I'm imagining in my brain is that we would show like a feelings wheel, right? And then be like, so what are the feelings you have participating in the token engineering commons? And then have a needs wheel and be like, what needs is participation in token engineering commons or whatever DAO you're in, right? Participate, fulfill for you, or what needs don't you get fulfilled, right? So maybe that might be a interesting and graphical way to educate people on the fact that, oh geez, feelings and needs are a thing that we care about and think about, and that might both demonstrate that we actually care about them just by asking what their feelings and needs are, and then sort of educate them on maybe I need to know more about these feelings and needs and how they're connected, and then also just to say, just to get a sense of what their feelings and needs are, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just like a visual idea popped into my head, and I thought I'd ask about it if it makes any sense to anyone else.
I think maybe at the end of the questionnaire, we can put like open questions. Um, like, do you want to share any feelings? Do you think, I don't know, um, there should be something that you want to talk about that we didn't include in the process, just for them to like put out.
Well, sure, you could make it open ended. I'm just saying that if you made it bounded and then you gave them like a thing, then it might make it more relevant for us or more relevant for research, right? Because then they can pick from that list or whatever. So that was just an idea, but we don't have to do it that.
I don't know. What do you think, Anna? Anna?
Sorry. About what? I was writing. My mind wasn't here. I'm really sorry.
I was kind of I had a visual popping in my head saying maybe we could have one question that was like, what needs would you have it show a needs wheel, just colorful needs wheels, and then be like,
Yeah,
what
I
needs are
know that
fulfilled
wheel.
by your
Okay.
participation in this DAO, and then we could have a feelings wheel and be like, what feelings come up for you when, because we're asking questions like this, right? We're saying, oh, we're emotionally exhausted, we're this, we're that, right? And then what way would have a way to sort of connect the two, what feelings and needs are met, what feelings and needs are not met. And so by breaking them up and then giving them a bit of a structure they can pick from, I just thought it might help to be a little open-ended in some sense, but also kind of bounded in the sort of NVC framework that we're used to
Okay,
using
so
here.
so basically you want to create a wheel of needs.
No,
Um
they already
and
exist. You can just look them up.
you wanna put that to relate it to connect that to the survey or something like that, or
It
to
was just
this
an
research.
idea. Doesn't have to be. I just putting it out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I can't say no. I should read about this and look for correlations, and if I found some, I
hmm.
will use that. Yeah, we should use that, of
Yeah,
course.
I think it's a good idea to look at that.
Yeah,
I wrote it
yeah.
down here. Wheel of
Okay,
Needs.
Well,
okay, cool.
I was just
Thank
thinking
you.
about something like this, right? So like I just looked this up on the internet here, just like, you know, so rather than just being like, all the things that we're projecting out on groups, like feeling exhausted, tired, blah blah blah, right? We could just present them with this thing and then get really specific feedback that would help guide them through the process. So this is, this is a needs wheel, and there are even more detailed ones, that are bigger, that have all kinds of, and so there are also feelings wheels, right? So that might help to guide people through the process. And I was just, as a web designer and um,
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I just thought about that. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
whatever you guys can do with it, it might be useful in some other place too, but it doesn't
yeah,
have to be here.
yeah, thanks for sharing it. I think that's useful. So we want to have 4 questions for each factor. I don't see any questions about stress or depression yet.
Question number 23. It's about stress.
Oh yeah, that's true. Nice. I think we have more questions about time than we need.
I told you that that's a good way to organize the
Yeah,
question and see, and yeah, great.
I'm with you on it. Did we know it all? So emotionally exhausting work. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 already. Boundaries, we have 1, 2.
Can I ask a phrasing question regarding this? Do we need to say that it's emotionally exhausting work? It seems like a leading sort of a question, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that why would we assume that specific thing, right? Because it could be very rewarding, but also sort of exhausting. And in a calculus in a person's mind go, well, it's worth it because, like a lot of the work I do is sort of like that. But what I'm saying is that are we asking if the work that the Tao is giving them is emotionally exhausting, or are we just trying to ask how they feel? Because it could be a cumulative thing. Like me, I have a regular job and then I do this work on the side. Do you know what I mean? So I could just be emotionally exhausted, but it doesn't really have a lot to do with the Tao, right? So it's just a phrasing question. Are we just I would say that it's probably better for us to not project things onto what other people may or may not be experiencing as an assumption. So I don't know if there's any better way we can say that would remove that element from it.
So that was in one article that we read. And it's a factor.
Okay.
We just put it like under the factor, and it's the way. I don't know. I just couldn't find like a better way to express that actually, because like like the other ones are just like into one word, really, and I don't know how to express this under one word. If you have an idea, we're welcome. You're
Well, I
welcome.
guess all I'm thinking about is like my brother. His mom died recently. So he's like, well, what I'm going to do is pour myself into my work so I don't have to deal with my emotions. Right. So, like, and he just literally says that. Right. So, like,
Yeah. So
my
he
mom
can.
died, therefore I'm going to overwork myself to death. It's just like that's his coping mechanism. So, that for him is like actually a cathartic sort of
No, we're not.
thing
We're
that
not
he does.
assuming. We're
Well, I'm
not
sorry.
assuming. We are not assuming that's
Oh, I see.
exhausting work.
I
But like
see.
here, like the first question, I think about my mental health every day. We put it under
Right.
emotion exhausting work
Got it. Yeah,
because
I'll try to think about it then.
yeah, because if like you're thinking about your mental health every day, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not, and we'll see that with the answer, If they totally agree or if they totally disagree, we'll see that, we'll measure it.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
But we are not assuming.
Um, but I think that that phrase emotionally exhausting, it's about the factor and or category, right? But
Mm-hmm.
will people see it related to the question, or
No,
they
they're not.
will?
They're not. It's just for the researchers.
Yeah, because sometimes um, what I'm thinking right now is that sometimes it's not only the emotions that get overwhelmed or exhausted. It could be the nervous system, it could be the mind, it could be the emotions, it could be the thoughts, and there are different things that can be exhausted in as a result, um, depending on the style of the person. So maybe um, I'll think of also of another way to phrase it, that it's not
Yeah.
emotionally only, because it's like a um, reduction of the whole idea that maybe you're trying to say. No, and maybe I'm wrong. That's what I'm getting.
Let me see if I can find it here so we can take a look at the bigger scheme so we can fully understand. So this was this article. It's a new era for mental health at work. So it was saying that many employers leave their jobs for mental health reasons, and talks about the important aspect to mention is 2/3 of respondents talked about mental health with someone at work in the last year and step in reducing stigma. So like even though they talked to someone, it didn't really help. Many employees strongly argue that a company culture should support mental health. The role of the companies, the mental health of employees. Certain factors in the workspace have affected the mental health of employees. 84% report at least one factor at work that was negatively affect their mental health, and most common factor was emotionally exhausting work. And under that is stressful, overwhelming, boring, or monotonous. So that's why I just put like the whole thing as a factor.
Yeah, I get it.
But we can change it too. It's not a big deal. We can see the survey to see how was it done. We can take a look at it.
Could be. What I'm thinking is that mental health, uh, it's not only about emotions.
Yeah, for sure. Everything combines into the mental health, right? We are affected about so many other aspects.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe instead of changing that one, we could add um, other types of exhaustion or overwhelm.
Like
I don't
what?
know. It's just an idea. Like there's this part of the mental in talking about the mind, the thinking mind.
Mm-hmm.
We could also think about the nervous system. Maybe emotionally it's not the problem, but your nervous system is overwhelmed. Uh, maybe we can think about yeah, those two are the ones that I'm thinking, or maybe your organism is overwhelmed. It's like um, biologically, it's too much, and not only from sleep. It's like we need time to rest in the day. We need to eat. We need air, and we need to change the position of the eyes and blink. There are so many factors in work that many times are not considered. If we need to change position, we need to get sun. So maybe biologically we also get exhausted and overwhelmed, and we don't notice.
Yeah.
Also, it's true that there's anti-work movement because like there's like an epidemic of bullshit jobs, and then and then just how awfully employers treat employees generally, and just how weird and underhanded and bizarre they were treated, um, in many ways, and also the fact that we're just not paid enough. is a massive overlaying factor in that sense, too. So those things I think just exists over the top of all this other stuff, and the fact that all the rest of society functionally ignores mental health, and so where else are you going to be? And your whole identity is often built around your job, and so you're then going to project that onto your job to try to help you deal with the fact that you don't get help in other places, right? So there's just a ton of sort of pre-existing conditions, that before you even ask about the fact that the work itself is emotionally exhausting.
Yeah, I think all that is valid. Um, but at this point, the research is already long, and we know we have limited, like we're limited. So in this research, we're not going to be able to talk about everything that we want to. And I was even talking to Wayne before, like we wanted to talk about burnout, and that itself, it's a very long topic. But we understand that all these other things that we are talking goes around burnout. And we're trying to focus in like in seeing how all these things affect the individual, to see how we can improve that in the organization. But there are so many things, and we can't make questions about everything just because it's gonna be so long. And um,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
get it.
yeah.
I'm
So
just, I guess I'm just, my concern is that if I don't consider all that overlaying stuff, then I don't have sort of diagnostic accuracy for all of the stuff underneath, right? So that's all I was saying it for, right?
yeah. So we need to have like some direction. Um, and we need to like focus, and we're limited. Um, there aren't like any research that can talk about everything, right? And that's something we are sad about. But we are also very excited about the outcome of this, because we see a lot of value on it. But yeah, I think we did good in these questions. I wanted to review these proposed questions. So they are in the same kind of like scheme as these ones before. Like here we are talking about, we are making the questions in the first person. Like for me, like in my work, I think my job, I would like. So that's one thing that I want to change here. Like your job requires, so I would put my job requires me to make difficult decisions. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So they can relate more to it, right?
Yeah. Well, and can I change it? Do you mind?
Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind.
Just so they're like in the same level of intimacy. My job requires me to make difficult decisions. I become tense and upset when I think about my current concern. My work exposed me a situation that bothers me emotionally. I am I think we can take these out, contributors to DAOs, because we're only applying to DAOs. What do you think?
Yeah, it's okay. You can delete it.
And I will change this one so it's like an affirmative question. So I often consider changing jobs. I think I was already changing it, I'm sorry. This one, I woke up several times and it's hard for me to fall asleep again. So here we have two questions in one. We can either separate them or we can delete one of them. What do we want to do?
I think both of them are related to depression, right?
Um,
Or one of them is depression and the other one is stress. What's your opinion?
we'll have to
Yeah,
see,
I think we should split them.
we'll have to see how that's in the literature. So I'll put I woke up several times when I'm trying to follow when I'm trying to sleep. Does it make sense? What do you think?
I woke up several times when I'm sleeping, right?
When I'm sleeping?
I mean, how can you woke up when you are trying to sleep and actually you're not sleeping?
I don't know.
Sorry, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It was hard for me. So maybe but it's hard for me to fall asleep again when I wake up during the night. What do you think?
Yeah, it's okay.
I think, yeah, maybe we would put that under. Yeah, thank you for correcting it. Maybe we put it under depression. We would have to see what depression is related to better for the questions. Thinking about the last 5 weeks, how often have you had difficulty making decisions? So this one we'll have to change to make an affirmative question. How often have you had difficulty making decisions? So I have had, I don't know, that's too much. That's like, I have,
Sorry
I
guys,
want,
I got a work thing coming up. I gotta go. Good
oh,
job.
sorry, Dorcas. Oh, I want to talk to you about the platform.
Yeah, we can do it a little later. But I got a lot happening today, so if it could be,
Oh, okay. Yeah, let
a
me know
little
when you're
flexible
free.
on that, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Thank you. Thank you for
Okay,
coming.
okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So how do you want to put these questions in like an affirmative way? I have a hard time making decisions.
Um, Making decisions for me is hard, or something like this.
Okay. Making decisions are or is.
Is. There goes an is.
Okay. Make decisions is hard for me. So stress, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions about stress. Nice. Um, so we have 5 for time.
I think we need more questions about depression.
Yeah. Boundaries, we
How
have
about
1.
something about energy disponibility, or waking in the morning, or starting a task?
I like that one, starting a task. Um, starting.
Something like, do you find, no, I find myself not being able to start uh, the tasks I have at hand, something like that.
I wrote one. I have little interest or pleasure in doing things.
I don't think that's a good question. I'm sorry.
We are searching for what? For which of the factors? Not for depression, because we have a few.
I have little interest or pleasure in doing things. I think that's confusing.
Actually, it's a question from a questionnaire. patient health.
Oh, we
It's
can't
called
copy. We cannot copy questions from
PHQ.
questionnaires.
Yeah, but we can rephrase that.
Yeah, we can rephrase it.
Yeah, I wrote the idea. So
Yeah. Ines, do you have access to the document?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And
Okay.
I was thinking that that one also can relate to motivation, right?
okay,
Enjoyment, it's
no.
one thing, and motivation is another.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Mm.
We need 4 questions for each factor.
Yes.
Okay. This means we need one more for depression. We have 3. Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe something about energy and feeling tired.
Yeah, like I constantly feel tired. Why? Hmm. Okay. I constantly feel tired during my day. During the day. So we have 4 depression. We have 5 about time. So one is, in the past week, I was able to disconnect from work at least one time, 100%. The other one is, I enjoy working from home more than going to an office. The other one is, my personal life is constantly in the way of my job. Actually, no, this is not. Yeah, this is right. My job is constantly in the way of my life.